I really hope this goes better than last month, otherwise I might just cry. Hi everyone, my name's Chloe, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today. Today's video is going to be my January TBR. It is time for TBR M.A.S.H. For any of you guys that don't know, it is my TBR game, which is inspired by the childhood game of M.A.S.H. I will link previous videos so you can see the whole rules and all the things like that. But basically there are prompts on here. I use a random number generator to eliminate prompts as we go, and then we pick the ones that I'm actually going to use for my TBR during the month. There are punishments and things like that for if double colours come up. There are also some +1s in there, but we'll get to those as and when we need to. First, what I do need to tell you though is something new that we haven't had on TBR M.A.S.H. before, which is that I failed my TBR last month. So I'm just going to grab the books that I haven't read yet. Basically my TBR for December was fairly intimidating. There was a lot of big books on there. The funny thing is I've actually managed to read the biggest books. I've read Mad Ship, I've read Priory of the Orange Tree, done all of that. But I also just mood read a ton of Christmas books, basically. I wasn't in the mood for what was on my TBR, so I read a bunch of Christmas books. And then towards the end of the month, I've hit a bit of a reading slump. And I'm not forcing myself to pick up these 2 books that are still left, because I do think I'm really going to enjoy these, and I don't want to ruin my enjoyment of them by forcing myself to read them now. So basically I'm filming this on the 28th of the month. I am currently reading Midnight in Everwood, which was not on my TBR, but you know, that's kind of how it's going. And the 2 books that I do have left on my TBR are Raybearer and A Psalm of Storms and Silence. So both of these, like I said, I'm very excited to read, but I just don't think I'm going to get to either of them this month, to be honest. I have an idea of what I want to read if I finish Midnight in Everwood before the end of the month, and it's not really either of these. So what I'm going to do is I do have a little bit of a punishment pot, and we'll see what it tells me I have to do, whether that's to add these onto my TBR for next month or whether I'm going to do something entirely different. But basically there will be at least 1 extra book on the TBR this month that is a punishment for not reading these. Obviously I'm not actually punishing myself too much, because if you've watched my recent vlogs you'll know that part of the reason I've been mood reading is just to help my mental health a little bit. So I'm not going to punish myself too much for not reading these, but I do want to add some stakes into the TBR game, so why not do a punishment in sort of a fun way, shall we? So what I have here is my David Bad mug, and I have a load of prompts in here. They're not necessarily the nicest ones. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jumble them up a little bit and pick one out. I know what this is already, and I actually put this one in as a joke. So I put a tweet out saying that I may have to do a punishment this month, and I asked for suggestions on what the punishment should be. And the first suggestion I got was from Megan, 12 books a day, and she said that my punishment should be reading all the books that she shouts about in the comments. And as a joke I put Megan pick in here, but apparently I have to read one of the books that she shouts about in the comments, so let's just go and grab it, shall we? I mean, it's only right that I read the book that Megan actually bought me for my birthday. So I'm going to be reading $10,000 of January by Alex E. Harrow. I have read an Alex E. Harrow book before. I read Once and Future Witches. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. It wasn't an all-time favourite, but I am looking forward to reading this one. And yeah, this is my punishment pick for the month, which is actually a pretty good punishment to have because it's a book that I want to read anyway. I'm just going to read you the synopsis on the back. It says, as a ward of the wealthy Mr. Locke, January's gala feels little different from the artefacts that decorate the sprawling mansion, carefully maintained, largely ignored and utterly out of place. But when she finds a strange book, one that tells a tale of secret doors, of love, adventure and danger, for the first time January realises she can escape her story and sneak into someone else's. Sounds really intriguing. I'm very much looking forward to this. So, not bad as punishments go, really. We have one for the TBR already and we've not even started M.A.S.H. yet. This is going well. What that does mean is that I won't be actually rolling over Raybearer and Psalm of Storms and Silence. I may end up putting them on my TBR again, especially Psalm of Storms and Silence. I really want to read that one soon, but that's entirely up to the board and me now if I put it on my TBR again. I don't have to put it on there if I don't want to. Rollover was actually one of the punishments in there and it didn't come up. So we're just going to get up a random number generator. I put my numbers between 5 and 15 and we have got a number 9. So let's go. You guys don't need to see me count. Let's speed this up. We're going to pretend that didn't happen. So we have our first prompt. or second, I suppose. Let's see what it is. Standalone. Okay. See, there's a book that I'm thinking would work for this, but I am also potentially going to read it before the end of the month. No, I'm gonna put it on here because just in case I don't get around to reading it before the end of the month, at least this means that I will definitely read it in January. And I'm going to grab this. This is Editing Chloe just jumping in really quick to say that the book that I have picked, I have since seen that there is a second book listed on Goodreads. From what I can gather though, it is more of a companion than a direct sequel. So I'm still going to count this as a standalone because everything that I've heard about it has said standalone. So now to show you what it is that I have actually picked, I just wanted to jump in and say this. I know that one person in particular who watches this video is going to be very happy to see this one on my TBR. I say one person, there's actually a few people, but in particular there's one person who's shouting about this book a lot. So Becca, if you are watching, I'm going to be reading The Love Hypothesis during January. This is a fake dating story that started off as Raylo fanfiction, and you've all seen it everywhere, all over the internet. It's apparently a TikTok sensation according to the sticker. I don't need to tell you a synopsis of this, I don't think, but I've been wanting to read it for a while and I just haven't got around to picking it up. I did plan on trying to read it in December and I haven't had a chance, and I don't think I'm going to get a chance before the end of the year. So we will put this on here. I believe it is a standalone, as far as I know it's a standalone. So Love Hypothesis. I'm trying to fit books on here that I know I'm going to be sort of excited to read because I don't want to end up in a slump. So romances like this, perfect fit. Let's move on to our next pick, shall we? We have got our next prompt, so let's see what this one is. I can't pick it off the board. It is a fantasy. This actually works out perfectly because I do have one particular reading plan that I want to fit in January. So basically last year my first book of the year was actually a series that I sort of binge read in its entirety, and it ended up making its way onto my favourites of the year list. It's one of the best, it's like very high up on my favourites of the year list actually. Spoiler alert for that video, but it was posted last week if you want to see it. But basically I kind of want to try and recreate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a series that I'm very excited about, I own in its entirety, and I just kind of want an excuse to read it. So the first one will be on this TBR. I may end up putting the second one on there if I can get it on, but we'll see what happens. Let me just go and grab it. So I am going to be reading Jade War by Fonda Lee. I cannot give you a synopsis of this. I know it is something about using jade for power. I believe it's got sort of like gangster mafia type vibes to it. This book is absolutely beautiful. I have the Ultimate Crate special edition, so like I said, I would like to try and read the entire trilogy as my first reads of the year, but I'm glad I managed to get this on my TBR because it is literally going to be the first book that I pick up in January. I'm really, really excited to read this one. I've been wanting to read the entire series, but I did kind of want to wait until it was all out to read it all in one go. And yeah, I'm really hoping I love it as much as I think I'm going to. Let's pick our next prompt, shall we? We have another prompt, and that one is sci-fi. Do I do it? Do I do it? I've just bought a book that is most definitely a sci-fi, but I don't know if I want to put it on here because it's quite big and intimidating, and I don't want to, so knowing that I'm planning on reading the whole Greenbone saga, I don't want to risk it. I have just realised though that there is another sci-fi I've bought that is really short. Bear with me 1 second. So this one's about robots, so I'm going to call that sci-fi, right? I'm hoping it is. I'm assuming. I'm going to read you the synopsis. This is A Song for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. I literally just bought this today. Waterstones have been having a half price on hardbacks offer, so I got it for half price, which is good because it's really short, so I didn't want to pay a lot of money for it. It says in here, it says, it's been centuries since robots have gained self-awareness and laid down their tools. Centuries since they wandered en masse into the wilderness, never to be seen again. Centuries since they faded into myth and urban legend. One day, the life of a tea monk is upended by the arrival of a robot, there to honour the old promise of checking in. The robot has one question: what do people need? But the answer to that question depends on who you ask and how. They're going to need to ask it a lot. I'm really intrigued by this. I've heard very good things about it. Maddie from Book Browsing Blog really, really loves this book, and she is mainly where I've heard good things about it, to be honest. But I am very intrigued. So yeah, I'm gonna put this on there. It's a nice short book to fill out my TBR a little bit. So far I'm quite liking it. Last month I asked for chaos. This month I am not wishing for chaos at all. And so far it's been nice to me. I've got a romance on there, I've got a novella, I've got a book that I'm just really interested in, and then the series that I wanted to get on there anyway. So we have 2 more prompts minimum to pick. Let's hope it's not too many more than that and see what we end up with. So last prompt, and we have got LGBTQ plus rep. Not a problem, I know exactly what I'm going to put on this. I do not have it to hand at the minute. It's another book that I very much thought I was going to read before the end of the year, but unfortunately it's not turned up. It's just got released today. I'm going to insert a picture, but it is Here's to Us by Becky Awatali and Adam Silvera. It is a sequel to What If It's Us, which is a story about 2 boys who have a meet cute that then doesn't necessarily lead into a relationship in the way that they expected to. They keep having disastrous first dates, and they just kind of keep trying again and seeing if they can manage to make something work. And it's a summer romance, so it's like a time frame on the end of it, and it's just about the summer that they spend together. I really enjoyed that book. I thought it was really cute. I've been waiting for the sequel to come out. It came out today. I actually saw it in shops today, but I have it pre-ordered and mine hasn't even been dispatched yet, so I don't think I'm going to get it and have time to read it in its entirety before the end of the year. So why not put it on my January TBR, because I know I want to read it straight away. And it is a male-male romance, so it is definitely LGBTQ plus rep. It is written by some LGBTQ plus authors. We're all good. Right. I actually haven't had any double colours, so I don't need to add anything extra. So actually the punishment round has actually just ended up being the extras that I normally get anyway. So we're doing quite well. All we have to do now is we have M.A.S.H. So I haven't actually explained in this video. I've been a bit chaotic. My mind is not with it today. So this may not have been like the most informative if this is the first one of these videos you've ever watched. But like I said, watch the other ones. It's fine. You'll get the idea. But basically M.A.S.H. in the game stands for mansion, apartment, shack, house. My version, it is mansion is a big book, apartment is a small book, shack is a book you've been putting off, and then house is a mood read, something that's nice and comfortable. So we're going to find out which one of these we end up with. Let's go back to counting. It's the only one I actually didn't want it to end up on, because I think in mansion I could use second Greenbone Saga book, house same thing, and then apartment a short book. It would have been fine, but we didn't get that. So we have shack, which means it is a book that I have been putting off. I'm gonna have to think about this one. Bear with me 1 second. You know what, on my priority reads TBR for last year, I said by sort of the end of last year, beginning of this year, there was a list of books that I wanted to read. One of them was Raybearer, which was why it was on last month's TBR. I didn't manage to get to that one. But the other one that I haven't managed to read before the end of 2021 was Let's Call It a Doomsday by TBR. I've had this one for a while. I've had it since it first came out. I really liked one of her other books, which was Heretics Anonymous. And I've just not got around to reading this one. But it is a YA contemporary. So why not put this one on the list? Because at least it should be easier to add on. So this is about 2 kids who meet in therapy, I believe, in sort of the therapist waiting room. One of them sort of catastrophizes everything, always thinks the world's going to end. The other one says, actually, yes, it is going to end and I know how it's going to happen. And they form a friendship, and it's about, I'm guessing it's about how they're not particularly good for each other. And yeah, I am intrigued by this one. Like I said, I did enjoy Heretics Anonymous, so I'm hoping I enjoy this one as well. But I have definitely been putting it off because I've owned it since, let's have a look when it came out, 2019. So it's been 3 years nearly, because it's 2022 now by the time this video goes up. Great. Yeah, we'll put this one on the TBR, shall we? So I'm just going to grab the books that are on my TBR so far. There are then a couple of extras that I do need to talk you through because I've just realised something else. Basically, that I was thinking that this TBR was all nice and kind to me, and then I've realised that there's some mandatory reads that I haven't even considered. Great. Hello, it's Chloe from the future here, just jumping in to say that there has been a slight alteration to my TBR. So I originally picked What If It's Us by Becky Awatali and Adam Silvera for my LGBTQ plus rep. I said in the clip you'll have just seen that I didn't think this was going to arrive before the end of the year. It did. It arrived yesterday on the 30th of December and I could not wait to read it. I'm 200 pages in already and I've got 4 hours left of the year. So I do plan on finishing this one tonight. I will be picking up something else for LGBTQ plus rep. I can't tell you what at the minute because I do just need to look at my shelves really and figure it out. But I will be replacing it with something else. I just wanted to let you guys know because in my next vlog you're going to see me reading that in December and I thought that would get a bit confusing. So yeah, gonna replace it. Not entirely sure what with, but there will be some sort of book picked for that prompt and I'll tell you exactly what it is when I do my wrap-ups at the end of the month. So my TBR M.A.S.H TBR looks like this, plus Here's to Us, which is, you know, like I said, nice and easy. We've got an adult romance, we've got 2 YA books, we've got a novella, and then we've got 2 fantasies. Absolutely fine. Let me just add on the other books that I want to read this month. So first of all, I did mention that I wanted to read the entirety of the Greenbone saga. So now my TBR is looking a little bit more like this. And I'm aware that they're in the wrong order, but I can't bother to swap them around. So we've got this, still not done. I have also been reading one Robin Hood book every month and I would like to keep up with that, especially considering that I am on the last one in a series at the minute. So when you add on the longest Robin Hood book to date that I have, my TBR now looks like this. Plus Here's to Us, because I have Ship of Destiny to add on to that as well. I also really would like to finish the David Bag trilogy and read Empire of Gold, but I don't think that's happening in January at this rate. But you know what, it's chunky, but I'm actually really excited about it. How many books have I actually got here? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 9 books. That's actually really doable. Like, I've read 11 so far this month. Like, to say that I have not completed my TBR, I've actually read a lot of books and I'm on track to kind of have my best reading month of pages this year total. It's just that I've been mood reading, but most of those, I think there's only like 1 or 2 that I've had to kind of force onto the TBR. Everything else is stuff that I was going to read anyway, so we could be okay. Well, we will see. Right, so that is everything. I'm going to stop sort of rambling now. I'm clearly panicked about how this TBR is going to go and if I'm going to have to do punishments 2 months in a row. I just started doing my outro and then realised I have another book that I haven't added on yet. I am hoping to participate in the Recreate book club, which is hosted by the lovely Becca and Ashley and Rachel, and the first book, the January pick, is Law by Alexandra Bracken. I'm hoping to read this so that I can watch the live show and participate in that, and if I get to it, I get to it, is kind of how I'm feeling. I mean, I did buy it specifically with the intention of reading it in January for this book club, but my TBR's chunky. I mean, I could also say that I might not read the entirety of the Greenbone saga in one go, but I really want to, so we will see. But this is also on the TBR. Right, now we're actually going to do the outro. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. Let me know what your TBR is looking like for the month of January. Is it as slightly terrifying as mine is? And I will see you soon with a new video. Bye.